Hi, I'm Sarah and I work for the English Language School, and today we're going to be learning about the future continuous. The future continuous is a tense that we use to talk about actions that are in progress at a certain time in the future, or to talk about longer actions in the future that are interrupted by a shorter action again in the future. We have two forms like we do in the simple future. Slightly different, now we have will be and be going to be. So for example, we could say Max will be waiting for you at 3 p.m. Or we could use the second form and say Max is going to be waiting for you at 3 p.m. Now, in the simple future, there were small differences between the two forms, but in the future continuous, it doesn't really matter which one we use. As you can see, our verb in these sentences is wait, and we've added ing to the end, which is the same as when we're using the present continuous and the past continuous. So it's our verb plus ing. Let's have a look at some more sentences in the future continuous. The first one we're going to have a look at is again relating to the time. I will be driving home at 4 p.m. I will be driving home at 4 p.m. Okay, let's have a look at that on our timeline. It's in the future, so it's after the present, which is now. So let's say that here is our 4 p.m. I will be driving home at 4 p.m. means that you will start your drive home before the time. So maybe here. So we've started this action before the time at the end of our sentence. And we could say, I am going to be driving home at 4 p.m. These sentences both have the same meaning. We start our sentence with our subject, then we have our future words, then our verb with ing, driving. If you're not sure why we've taken the E off driving before adding the ing, please watch the present continuous video. And then the rest of the sentence is the same. Subject, future, verb with ing, and the rest of our sentence. Let's have a look at the negative sentences in the future continuous. Again, we start with our subject, I will not be driving home at 4 p.m. So again, we've started with our subject and used our future, but we have to put our negative in between the two words that relate to the future. I will not be driving home at 4 p.m. We can't say I will be not driving home at 4 p.m. or I not will be driving home at 4 p.m. We have to put the negative word not in between will and be. I will not be driving home at 4 p.m. The same sentence in the other form looks like this. I am not going to be driving home at 4 p.m. And again, we've started with our subject, which is I. Then we have our section to say that it's in the future continuous. This little word in between be and going to show that it is a negative. Then our verb plus ing and the rest of our sentence. For a question, in this way, in this form with will be, we will start, will I be driving home at 4 p.m? The same format as we have done in the other continuous tenses. We've started with the word that relates to the time. So in this one, it's the future. Will I be driving home at 4 p.m? If we look at it in the second form, am I going to be driving home at 4 p.m? And remember, both of these relate to the action starting before the time at the end. So at the start of the video, we mentioned that the future continuous can be used for actions that are in progress at a certain time in the future, which is what we've just looked at, and for longer actions that are interrupted by a shorter action. Sounds confusing, but it's quite simple. Let's have a look. I will be watching a film when Eric arrives home. The first action is in the future continuous, and this is the longer action that starts first. It must start at some time in the future. So let's say that this action here, the watching a film, is action 1. So it starts on our blue line. The second action is Eric arrives home. This action happens after the start of the first one. So if we label this one action 2, during this time, action 1 will still be in progress. So I will still be watching my film when Eric arrives home. Let's have a look at this sentence in this form. I am going to be, our verb is watching, film when Eric arrives home. The same actions, so it's still about me and watching a film, and it's still about Eric arrives home. The second action that starts after the first one, we always use the simple present tense when we're writing. So please watch our simple present video to find out more information. Let's have a look at the negative. I will not. And remember, the negative word not must go between will and be. I will not be watching a film when Eric arrives home. So again, we've said that this little word here, not, shows us that it's a negative. These two bits here show us it's in the future continuous, and this part in the middle shows us it's a negative. In the second form, I am not going to be watching a film when Eric arrives home. It's the same as our statement, but in between the be and going, we have to put our negative word not. This shows us it's a negative. Be going to be shows us it's the future continuous. Watching is our verb. So remember, it's our verb plus ing. Let's have a look at questions. So we've looked at our sentences as a statement and a negative. Now let's have a look at the question. Will I be watching a film when Eric arrives home? The sentence structure is the same as the statement, apart from we've swapped the subject and the will. So instead of I will be watching a film when Eric arrives home, we've changed those two words round. Will I be watching a film when Eric arrives home? And in the second form, it's very similar again to that one in the statement. Am I going to be watching a film when Eric arrives home? So we're asking the question at this point here, when Eric arrives home, will I be watching a film? If you would like to test yourself, please follow the link for our quiz.